is just for real beginners if you've never taken yoga class, because I can't see you. I want to be sure to explain some of the moves that we use all throughout the class. So instead of doing a class and then spending a lot of time cueing and showing you exactly how to do it, I'd rather do this, let you get comfortable with it, and then once we go into like a 30-minute class, we can just flow through it, and you'll know in the back of your head how your body should be aligned, how your hands should be, how your legs should be, and that kind of thing. So I'm also going to want you to get, we call them blocks. It's just anything that can bring the floor closer to you, because sometimes when we want to put our hands down, the floor is too far away if you have tight hamstrings or if you're not that flexible, which is totally fine. Everyone uses blocks. So I was looking for household items and I found a few. So first options that you might have around the house, if you have like 2 of these like toilet paper things, they'll be good because you can have them here. You want them to be the exact same height because you don't want to be warped, whatever. So it'll be something like if you're here and you want to bring the floor up, rather than like hunching over, you would bring them here, and that way you can be nice and lifted and lengthen through the spine. And then you can also have it to another height. So if you have that, if you need even more height, maybe you have 2 hand towels, and that'll bring the floor up even more. And then maybe if you have like sandwich bags, again, now you'll have 2 heights that you can use. Or if you have 2 things of this detergent, you want to have 2. I only have 1, but if you have 2 of these, if you stocked up, then you have your blocks. So if you have those, and then also if you want to grab just a little pillow, it can be a small one, doesn't have to be a big one, and that's what you would use for class. So this isn't going to be so much a class, it's just like a breakdown of different poses so that you can know before the class begins. So we're going to start on our knees. So this is tabletop. So you want to be sure that the hands are right under the shoulder. You don't want to have them out here. You want to make sure that the shoulders are right over the wrists and that the hips are right over the knees. Hands are shoulder width apart. Knees are hip width apart. So this is our tabletop, and you want to be sure that you spread the fingertips wide. In yoga, we're using the surface area and all the pads of our fingertips. So you're never on the mat with like closed hands, because when it comes to like balance or that kind of thing, you're never going to be able to find it. So you always want to make sure that you're spreading the fingertips wide and actively gripping the mat and keeping that surface area. So make sure your fingertips are always wide, spreading wide on the mat. Now here, downward facing dog. Everyone's heard of down dog. Now this pose isn't supposed to be a challenging pose. It's supposed to be more of a resting, easy pose, but for a lot of people, sometimes they're uncomfortable a lot of the times in it, so you want to be sure that you're not uncomfortable in this pose. This isn't supposed to be a hard, challenging pose. So the easiest way I think of it is, if you start from tabletop, you curl the back toes under. You're going to think of lifting from the tailbone, sending it up and back, sending the hips up and back. So you spread the fingertips wide, curl the back toes under. You're going to lift the hips, lift the knees off the mat as you lift the hips, and then send them back. So you want to be sure that your stance isn't too short and that your stance isn't too wide. So the nice thing to do is maybe you come from plank if you're feeling a little off. So you come to a plank. This isn't tabletop. This is tabletop. This is plank, where the hips are slightly forward, so that when you lift the hips, again, shoulders are over the wrist, and that should be the distance. So if you go here to here, that's the right distance. So you shouldn't have to adjust the hands if you're coming right from plank. That should feel right. So you want to again be sure that you're spreading the fingertips wide on the mat And you don't want to be looking towards your hands because you're breaking up the line of the neck, and you don't want to be looking at your belly because you're breaking, let me show it this way, you're breaking the line of the neck. So you want to think of a nice long spine. Maybe the gaze is towards the back of the mat. And then you want to be sure that you're not tensing up in the shoulders. So you want to draw the shoulders away from the ears, and you want to broaden out through the upper back. So you want to be sure that you're not here. You want to lengthen out the spine. If this is too much on the back of the legs for the hamstrings, then you bend and you hold it here. And then you slowly, maybe when you're feeling a little bit better, you can maybe begin to drop the heels. Heels don't have to touch the mat. That's not the goal. So if the heels are up a little bit, that's totally fine. You just want to be sure that you're engaging everything. You're sending the tailbone up and back, spreading the fingertips wide, core is engaged, neck and spine are nice and long. And then you also want to begin to focus into the index finger and the thumb. So really send the energy to the index finger and the thumb and that little fleshy part between the two. Okay? So, to get into down dog, we come through our vinyasa. Now that's the name of the class, vinyasa, the vinyasa flow. And vinyasa flow is just linking your breath to your movement, because yoga is all about using your breath, finding your breath, keeping your breath. So, a modified version, which I'm sure all of us can take, all of us will take, no worries. Better to do it easy and proper form than to just try and go for it and then keep going and then adding injury. So, again, we're in tabletop, spreading the fingertips wide. We're gonna shift slightly past the wrist, the shoulder slightly past the wrist. We're having the feet tucked under. We're going to lower down to a push-up. We wanna be sure that our push-up, our elbows are pulling into our ribs. We don't wanna flare the elbows out when we push up, and we don't wanna just lower the chest and leave the hips up. So we're here in tabletop. We inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower as low as you can, halfway, elbows tracking back. Then we point the toes, and then we press into the hands, lift the chest. If that's too much, we come from here, we inhale, shift forward. Exhale, we lower all the way down to the mat. We lift just slightly up off of the mat. We press into the hands, we make our way through tabletop, and then we go into our downward facing dog. And remember, you can always adjust. So if the feet are too wide, bring them in. So if you're going from the push-up, inhale, exhale to lower. Inhale, if you're coming from here into an upward dog, all you're doing is making sure that you're pressing the chest forward. You don't want to sink into the hands. We're pressing away from the mat, shoulders down from the ears, lifting the chest forward, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Then we curl the back toes under. We send those hips up and back. And that's your downward facing dog. Now to move forward back to the top of the mat from downward dog, we're going to step the right foot forward or the left foot, depending on what I say. Now, if you make it here, all you do is pick that foot up, and you want to take it in between wherever the hands are. And then you step forward. Now, whenever we have a lunge or foot forward, I'm going to drop that back knee. You never want to have the knee going over the toes and the heel up. You will always have the knee over the heel. Because if you begin to put, if you have that foot back, you're going to begin to put a lot of strain on the knee. So make sure that wherever you are, you always have that foot and that heel in line with that knee, okay? And then we'll just step the left foot to meet the right. Now from here, we're going to say inhale, halfway lift. You're going to bring the hands to the shins, and instead of rounding the spine, you're going to press into the shins, and then you're going to flatten out the back. So you're going to take a nice deep breath in, inhale, lift up to halfway. Exhale, round the spine. Now, if you want, this is another one that you can use your faith blocks. Hands here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. You'll move the blocks. You'll plant the hands. And that's when we move into our vinyasa. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And that's your vinyasa. What's another common thing? Oh, another common thing is lunges. So I'm just gonna come up to the mat. So say I say step your left foot back, right foot front into a lunge. Now you don't, from the front, you don't wanna aim to have the right foot and the left foot in one line. They wanna be on opposite tracks. So you wanna be sure that they're on two separate tracks, and that's a lot of stability. That's a lot more stability than having them one in front of the other. So make sure whenever we're in a lunge, the feet are on two separate tracks, the hips are square, so don't allow that hip to rotate towards that back hip. So make sure the hips are always square, abs are engaged, pulling up, and really lifting up through that back leg, maybe reaching the arms high. If you ever need to, you can always just drop that back knee. And anything we do, whatever we do, can be done with the leg on the mat or leg up, okay? Next one is warrior two. So say we're in our lunge, and we face this way so you can really see. So say we're in our lunge. Again, this knee is never going past the toes. It's always right here. Pulling the abs in, slight tug of the tailbone. Say we're in our lunge, we're going into warrior two. All you're doing is spinning that back heel down. It goes here, and then it goes here. It's about a 45-degree angle. Now, again, you don't want to let those hips rotate too much. Actually, no, they are rotating. I'm thinking of warrior one. My bad. So warrior two, we're here. We spin that back heel down, we open the arms, and now our body is to the side, but our head is looking over our fingertips. And you want to watch that back arm. It shouldn't be too far back or too far forward. Now the arms are in one line, and now the legs, think of that front heel slicing that back arch. So now we're kind of in one single line. And then again, watch that front knee. Sometimes it tends to rock over, and then sometimes it tends to rock the ankle that way. So you want to be sure that you're always focusing knee over heel, sending that knee forward. Now, if you want to widen the stance, then you walk it forward and get a little bit deeper. Rather than getting deeper this way, you just walk it forward and get a little bit deeper this way. So again, nice long arms. Inhale, reverse. All you're doing is flipping. And then when we say exhale, cartwheel the arms, will come down to the mat. Spin the back heel. You can drop that back knee down. You can take it to tabletop. Downward facing dog. Okay? So those are the few basics that we'll always be doing in a vinyasa full class. It'll always be downward dog, and there'll always be a vinyasa. There'll always be lunges, there'll always be warriors. So hopefully that helps, so that when we go through the actual class now, you'll at least have a little bit of awareness of your body, how your body should be, and how your body should be aligned.